Hi there, welcome back to another episode of my PSDK tutorial. In this episode we're going to be going over how to do trainer battles, and I guess I'll just kind of explain what each page means and what it is. Now we're just going to go right into it because this shouldn't really be too long of a video, but who knows how long it's going to end up being. So as always, you want to go to a map that has an example, at least that's what I always say, and this one right here, this map, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, has this bug catcher right here, which is actually a trainer. So as you see, his name is Gary, and he's got 4 different pages, and on the first one it's literally just the script that finds the player. So this will allow you to be spotted by the trainer, and then it will move on to the next page, which if you look at the second page, it has this event turned towards the player, makes a sound effect, does the exclamation animation, which is another thing that people asked, how do you do animations? And it's actually not too difficult. If you want to go more in depth than this, you can do emotion, and then right here is the animation that it's going to do, and then you can do like comma and then the event ID. So like this one would be 3, and that would do the same animation on this event, but it can be in a different event. So as you saw, by default it had nothing, and that means that it's just going to play on top of the current event. But if you wanted it to be on top of the player, it'd be like -1. If you wanted it to be on top of the event from a different event, it would just be 3. And it can be any number as long as it's the event ID. I'm also going to show you guys some of the different animations. I don't think I have it in here, but we do have it in my other project. So let me just pull that up real quick. I've modified mine a little bit, not too much, but I have modified it a little. So it still looks the same, it sounds the same. So if we go to player animations, these are the different animations. I might put a list of these down in the description. So you have poison, which will do like a poison animation. You have exclamation 2. You have the question mark. You have a music thing, which is like the little music symbol. You have love, which does a heart. Joy, which is a sad face, or a happy face. Sad, which is a sad face. Happy, which is like an even happier face, I believe. Angry, I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory. The no comments, a ... You can, play around with them, but these right here are all you really need to know which the different animations are. And like I said, this will be in a list in the description down below in case people ever want to change them up. So back to this on the second page. This right here says ignore if it can't move. So it's going to basically move to the player, and as you saw before, it had a radius of 7. So this number can be changed, and whatever it changes to is how far he can see. So if we made it 1, he would only be able to see 1 tile ahead. So if we're 2 tiles away from him, you'd be able to get by. But by default, it was a 7. And if you count these right here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And since ignore if can't move is on, basically if you're closer than 7, it's going to end this move route, and then it will move on to the next thing, which is the wait for move completion, and then it will show the text, which says basically, well, this would be in English if we read it in game, so maybe we'll do that after this, but it'll basically say that he saw you from 7 tiles away, because this is what it says on the first script, or on the first page. And then it's going to change the battle background music to a gym leader, which if we play that real quick, it sounds like this. This is like the default, battle music, and that will play, and then it'll change the battle background to be the background grass, and then it turns off this self switch, but we'll continue going through. Now this is really, really important right here. So this right here sets the ID for the trainer battle. So this is what is controlled in RubyHost. So if we go to our, ignore my messy desktop again, we go into PSDK, the tutorial, and we go into RubyHost and open that up. And if we go to trainers right here, and we go down to 130, this is Gary. So he would have a Butterfree, a Heracross, a Cricketune, and a Swadloon. All different, different Pokemon. I don't really know what this is, to be honest, right here. I don't mess with this. All you really need to do is mess with all the other things. So this is his team. Now if we wanted to load up a different character, like a different trainer, we would just change the number. Now, you may notice that the graphic for the battler is not changing. I think by default, if the battler graphic isn't set, it's just going to show the last one. So since, you know, Gary was the bug catcher, when we went to a different one and it didn't have a graphic, it's still showing the bug catcher. It's not really a big deal. Now, if you ever want to add in new Pokemon and stuff, it's actually pretty easy. You just type in whatever you want, like a Sandslash, and you click add. And then you're going to see that he now has a Sandslash. It's similar to when you add in new Pokemon to the encounter, or like in the zones. But I believe Nuri said that you had to wait a little bit before it will actually like register. So we got to wait a little bit, hit save. And then when we come back, it'll be level 20. So I think it needs like a certain amount of time, a few seconds. That's all it really takes to actually show, like, and actually register that you changed the number. So this right here will change the ball that it's been caught with when he throws it out, which is pretty cool. The random ability, if it's random, it's only going to pick one from the list of abilities that it can actually have. It's not going to give it like pickup to like a Bulbasaur, you know? So it's only from the actual abilities that they have. By default, it just picks, you know, default. I think it's the most recent moves that this Pokemon can learn by this level. Gender's random. Random form. You may not want this in case you have like a Alolan Pokemon, or if you have like Megas and stuff. I think it might be better to make sure that you pick which form it is for this. Item held, pretty self-explanatory. Friendship, this is only really important if it's gonna know return. You might want to keep it at 70 instead of like having max friendship, because that's something that I think Essentials does, is that it gives them 0 friendship. So if you fight a Baniri with its default moveset, it usually has struggle, or not struggle, but whatever the move is that's the opposite of return, which does it on friendship. If the lower the friendship, the more strong that the move is. So this is actually kind of important to be at 70 in case you're like using a Baniri. But that's about that. If you want to change the trainer class, you can edit this and go to 130. This is what it's going to show when it starts up. This could really be whatever you want it to be. And then the victory speech is when they win. It's not like when you win. So it's victory for them. That's something that you should definitely know, because it took me a little bit to understand that. And then defeat is when they lose. So again, pretty self-explanatory. If you want to change the battler graphic, by default PSDK only has a few of them. Ignore these are for Umbra. So let's go to our PSDK tutorial and go into our graphics and battlers. These are maybe I put these in on accident. I'm not sure. I feel like by default it only had these up to here, but maybe PSDK has been updated to have more graphics. I'm not entirely sure. But before it was just these, and these actually show similar to the X and Y style. So it'll have like it'll show these graphics. It'll do like the big one first and then the small one, which I'll show you in game. So let's move on from that. Let's go back here. So this does the battle processing, which means like if you win, I believe, if you win, it'll say this text, and then he will go back to his position, wait for the move completion, and then it's going to turn on self switch B. If you lose, it's going to do, see, I'm always confused on if it's backwards, because usually I think it's the other way around, but since if you lose, he heals your party, and then it shows the mad face. So that sounds about right. Yeah, if you win, it'll do this. If you lose, it'll do this. And then it will change the battle background music back to the wild battle. So if you win, it'll go to self switch B. If you lose, it goes to self switch C. So this is B. It'll say this text. And if it's C, it'll say this, which I think will allow you to battle him again. And then it will stay on this because there's no more self switches. So pretty self-explanatory. Now I'll show you guys how to actually customize them on our test map too. Put them right here, I guess. So we're gonna have him look left, and we'll give him a, let's see, we'll give him 2 instead of 7, right? So we'll give that a 2, and we'll even change his graphic actually. Let's go to the scientist, because I don't think it really matters. So yeah, we'll do like a male scientist. And then we'll go here, change this as well, keep him looking left. Now, since it's only 2, it would probably be in our best interest to edit this to be 2, but it actually doesn't matter, because I mean, if he can only go 2, then he probably can't go 7 anyways. But we're just gonna edit that anyways, and then we're gonna change this to be like. Now, if you're using a legitimate version of RPG Maker, I think a cracked version has the long text thing, but the legitimate ones actually limit you to like this small text box. And PSDK really utilizes the longer text box, so you might want to pull something from Pokemon Essentials, which is the extend text. I use it all the time, just so I can have a full text box, and it looks more like this. So we'll change it to say C2, which this changes the color to be blue. I don't remember what all the colors are. I know that 1 is red, 2 is blue, 3 might be green. You just might want to change this number, play around with it, it'll give you different colors. We'll do scientist, and we'll give it some, you know, some lame text. It says time to battle, right? And then, oh wait, no, wait, this was supposed to go up there actually, because this is before the battle. So let's do that, time to battle. Now, assuming that this one right here, if you win, you know, this is the text for if you win, we'll just say, Drat, I lost. You know, just so we know that that's what it's for. Now, if he can't move, we're going to have him, or after when he loses, we're going to have him move back to his original position, like so. And then we will have it go to self-switch B. We need to change this, so that means that we have to actually make our own trainer. So we're going to go down here. I like to go all the way to the bottom, add a new one, and it will tell you that there's an issue. There's not enough text to add a new trainer. Make sure that you've set the trainer class as well as their victory and their defeat message. So you always need to do that first. So we're going to go to the trainer class. We're going to click add text, and we're going to name it scientist, because that's what his that's what his trainer class is. Going to hit save. Then we're going to close this. Edit the victory speech. So again, this is what he says when he wins, not when you win. So we'll just say, haha, I won. Save that. Then go to the defeat speech. And then say, darn, how did I lose? Right? Or, well, I guess we'll do that like that. Save, close this. Now, we shouldn't have graphics for... we shouldn't really have the graphics for this. But we're just going to give him... I guess we'll give him the girl, just because we don't have the graphic. I'm trying to think right now. If we look at 130, did it use the big or the small one? It uses the big one. Okay, just wanted to make sure. And I accidentally put this on the wrong graphic. So we need to make sure after we added the trainer class, the victory speech, and the defeat speech, we do hit add. Make sure that you set the trainer class as well as it. Didn't we do that? We did 280. Scientist, victory speech, 280, haha, I won, defeat speech. Oh, see, that's where I messed up. I didn't do the defeat speech. So there we go. Save, and now we should be able to add a new one. Wrong one. There we go. So scientist Gene. So we want to change the name to be scientist John, for example, and we'll give him a Magnemite. We'll give him a, let's remove this Bulbasaur because I don't want him to have a Bulbasaur. We'll go Magnemite and a, what else do they have? Voltorbs? And hit add. Okay. And so now it's going to be level 1 by default. So let's change that to 10. And wait a little bit. Hit save. I don't think you have to hit save, but we're going to do that anyways. Again, we'll give him a 10. Hit save. And you know what? We're going to change the ball. We're going to change it to, he caught this one in a Master Ball. Why not? And we'll make it shiny for the fun. Hit save. And then we want to make sure that we set the graphic, because this is actually the graphic for the old one, which that can get a little bit confusing, but try not to get confused by it. Make sure whenever you're doing a new one that you set the battler graphic and hit save. And now it should be good. So now we just need to make sure that the ID is set to 280 here. So again, make sure that the ID of the trainer to battle is 280 or whatever the ID is for you. And then the rest should be good. This obviously needs to change. So this is what they say after the battle, just to clarify. This isn't what they say in battle. So C2 scientist. We'll just say that. Then he heals your party. This is the script command to heal your party. It does the sound for when they heal, which sounds like this. And then it will do this animation. I'm not sure what this and this is for, because it really could just be interrogation 3, because that will go on top of this event right here. And then I don't know what he would say here, so we're just going to delete this, and then we're going to have him move to the right twice because that's how far he moved. Clear those up right there, hit OK. Again, make sure ignore if can't move is on, so it doesn't try to move into the trees. If it can't move, it just won't move. Wait for the move completion, and then we'll turn on self switch C, and then go back to changing the battle background to the normal music. It's very important. And then here, so this is what plays if you win, because if win, turn on self switch B, which this page is for the self switch B. Make sure that we keep him as a scientist so he doesn't turn into a bug catcher after we beat him. And then we'll just say, I can't, whoops, let's do C2 scientist. I can't believe I lost, right? And then hit apply, go to the fourth one. Again, changes graphic. You probably don't have to change the graphic so often if, you know, you did this from scratch, but I highly advise, you know, copying and pasting the events. And then we'll change this to C2 scientist. So you're here for a rematch, you know, because that's basically what I think he was saying. So then it will show you the choices of yes and no. So if yes, you want the rematch, it'll do the background music, change the battle background again, and then this had to be 280, I believe. Wanted to double check. Yep, 280. So we'll set this back to 280. It becomes not so difficult when you've done it so many times. And then this will change to C2 scientist. Darn, or drat, I lost, because you probably never saw this before if you lost before. So now it's going to turn off this self switch so you can't rematch him, and it turns on B, which is this one. And then this is, we'll just change this to be C2 scientist. Talk to me if you want to battle again. And then he heals your party, does the sound effect, and then we're just going to change this to 3 again. I don't know why it has the zeros. I don't know why it has 2 different zeros either. And then we're just going to delete this. And then we're going to move him again, because he probably moved, you know, the 2 steps. So let's do this. Wait for move completion. Put this over here. Actually, wait, no, he never moved in this one. So we don't need to do that. And then if you say no, he'll say okay. Talk to me if you want to battle again. So this is if you tell him no, you don't want a rematch. All right. So now he should be fully evented and ready for us to battle, assuming that we have a Pokemon, which I believe we have our Pikachu and our Meowth by default. So let's start this up and see if he works properly, which he should. The first time he sees us, he should see us within two little feet. And here, I'm going to mute the audio at this point. And then we're going to go inside. See, it's our test map. I guess we don't have the running shoes. I never gave it to myself. So we have our Pikachu and we have our Meowth right there. So now he should see us. We're 2 steps away. Time to battle. It does the little animation. It shows the girl. Unable to find text. Okay, so I forgot I have to do that. So John is issuing a... And there we go. He's got the shiny Magnemite, which is going to be a real pain for us to fight, actually. So maybe we should switch into our Meowth. So since you guys saw that the text wasn't working properly, we're going to have to make sure that the game has compiled the text, which I didn't think we had to do this every single time we did something new with trainers and stuff, but I guess you might need to. But we know that the trainer works properly, and that's really all that matters at this point. So what we need to do is we need to load command, and we need to paste in game space dash dash util equals text to CSV and hit OK. Once that's done, it's going to load up the scripts. It'll say this, which then we're going to pull out the next one. I'm going to copy this. Now I always go back to this to, you know, just to make sure I'm doing it right. And I just hit right click and then it does that. These will be in the description so you guys know how to do that. It'll ask you which language to include. We'll do English, and then bam, it's all good now. So now when we battle them, it'll say the right thing. And I don't think we're going to lose because it's just kind of hard to unless I give them like level 100 Pokemon. But I just want to make sure that it's actually reading the text properly. So we're going to, whoops, I was holding control so I went into a place I wasn't supposed to be. So we're going to save here for convenience sake. And then step in front of him, time to battle. So now it should say, Scientist John is issuing a battle. John sent out the Magnemite. So now the text is working properly, which is just what we needed. Now we're going to go back in here and we are going to change. We're going to give him a little bit stronger Pokemon just so he can win, so we can see what that would look like. So we're going to go here and we're going to change his Magnemite to be level 100. And then we're going to hit save. Wait a little bit, you know, give it its time. Hit save again. Don't think you really have to do that, but we're going to. And then we're going to run the game. And now we should see what it looks like when we lose. So let's get in front of him. Time to battle. Perfect. Now there is a way to change this from the X and Y to be more Gen 4 styled for the intro animation thing, which I can try and show off if I remember how to do it. So now he's dead. So now he says, haha, I won. And then they say again, aha, I won. And then they healed us and they did the little animation thing. It's not good to do the animation when they move because the animation stays in place. So you're here for a rematch. We're going to say no, and says, okay, well, talk to me if you want to battle again. And then if we talk to him again, it'll register and it will start the battle, which is pretty much exactly what we told it to do. Now to make this look a little bit better, when you lose, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do a little wait because I don't like doing, we're going to give it like 20, no, we'll give it 30 frames because, you know, PSDK runs at 60 FPS. So actually, no, we'll give it 40 just to be safe. And now it should do this, then wait 40 frames, and then he'll move, which is how it should look. Now, if we wanted it to be more Gen 4 styled, let me go see how I did that. All right, so if you want it to look more like a sprite and you don't want to do that animation that we did, we actually have to go here, and you could do it pretty much right before the battle if you would like, but I'm going to do it at the top. And we're going to do this. We're going to control variable 31 and make the trainer transition ID equal to 1, which this sets it to be more Gen 4 styled, which will have the sprite at the beginning of the battle instead of the little animation that it did, which means that we're actually going to have to change up the trainer sprite. So we're going to open up trainer again, go here to Scientist John, and we're going to change this to be, let's see, is there a scientist here? Yeah, we'll use this one. So now we're going to save that, and we'll close this, and now we'll battle him, and it should use that. Now the issue with this is that PSDK doesn't come with any back sprites by default, so you're going to have those yourself, so that'll look a little bit weird, but it says time to battle. It'll start. You're going to notice that we're missing some graphics for our back sprite, so that's why it's got the question mark, but there you go, and that looks more like Gen 4 instead of the Gen 6 styled one by default. Now if you want to change it back, I believe you just have to change this to a 0. I believe. I mean, I haven't actually tried that, so we're going to see right now. but I believe if we did that, then it will switch it back to the original. And then we'll see how that looks. Yeah, so this is the more original looking one. Now it's got the error because it's missing the small file, which it loads first, and then it does the big one afterwards. So again, that's only if you wanted to go back to the Gen 6 one for, you know, that's just how you switch between Gen 4 and Gen 6. So again, if you want it to be 1, that's Gen 4 styled. If you want it to be 6, it's Gen 0. And you have to change variable 31 to do that. So just so you guys know, that's how you do that. I think we've gone over everything in terms of the trainer battles. Hopefully this helped you out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.